Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be on your channel and particularly on the digital part of your amazing network. I've served in several Islamic countries, including several years in Sudan, which had Sharia law when I was there. And somebody even issued a fatwa against me, whatever that meant. Question here is, what does this Ayatollah, Grand Ayatollah, whatever titles they give each other, Supreme Ayatollah or Major Ayatollah, or Captain Ayatollah or General Ayatollah, I don't know what they go around doing with themselves. What has he said against Netanyahu and President Trump? Has he said they should be killed? No, if he's the enemy of Allah, does it mean that somebody should take a pot shot at him? I'm not quite sure what it means. If they are trying to be over smart, these jokers in Iran who have issued whatever they have issued against this guy. See, my understanding of fatwa, I spoke to many Islamic scholars, and I've spoken again to them. A fatwa is a religious opinion, an opinion on a religious issue. For example, can I wear a striped shirt? And somebody might issue a fatwa saying, yes, it's legal in Islam. So it's a very complicated issue. But in recent times, we've been finding people issuing fatwas asking for the physical elimination of the people against whom the fatwa has been issued. This hadn't been done. In fact, funnily enough, it might amuse you. There used to be a fatwa against Coca-Cola also, because that drink is supposed to have gas or all kinds of things, and it uses some pigment or the other, uses something related to the pig, which is haram in Islam, so don't drink Coca-Cola. Then somebody issued a counter fatwa saying there's nothing wrong with that. Then there was the Ottoman chap when he was joining the war against the Allies in the First World War on the side of Germany. He got someone to issue a fatwa. So a fatwa normally would be issued by a mufti, a very qualified chap. Again, there's no list of fellows who can issue fatwas. Even Osama bin Laden issued a fatwa against somebody, and then somebody issued a fatwa against Osama bin Laden. So it became a bit of a joke over a period of time. My own feeling is that if the fatwa declares Trump to be the enemy of Allah, um, I think in the United States, having lived there for several years and going there every year, I don't think they'll even bother about it. Now, if some buffoon there thinks that this means that he has to physically harm the president of the United States, then of course it's a different matter altogether. But the result of this is going to be, and I'll tell you, till 2001, till 9/11, Islam was accepted as a religion, occasionally violent, but as one of the many religions. After 2001, it became public enemy number one, not just in the United States, but in Europe also. Where they said, look what these guys are doing in the name of religion. So it suddenly did more damage to itself, the religion, those fellows who were involved in it, than it did to the American economy, or to killing 3,000 Americans, whatever, was terrible. But then it sort of provoked the Americans into clobbering Afghanistan and Iraq and so on, and many more thousands died. So it was a counterproductive kind of thing what was done. What I understand is the anger in Islam, the rage in Islam against the values of the West. Now, if the economic development, if the economic goodies of the West were available to Muslim countries, I don't think they'd be that upset. It's a cry of the deprived, of the have-nots against the haves. Look, this guy is living life and enjoying himself. He drives big cars, and then somebody will come out with a fatwa saying this is not allowed. Islam doesn't allow you to have 2 cars or 3 cars or whatever. This kind of stuff comes out. Essentially, to my mind, to my understanding, it comes from a sense of envy and a feeling of hopelessness, that I can never hope to catch up with these guys. Let me pull them down to my level. Now, issuing something against a soft drink, or telling somebody that you can't wear shoes greater than this shoe size, I mean, this kind of stuff becomes ridiculous over a period. It becomes comical. So my feeling is that it's going to be ignored. They'll tighten security around the president, as they should. Whether you like Donald Trump or you don't like President Donald Trump, he is the leader of the free world. Given half a chance, 90% of the jokers living in Iran would pack up their bags and run off to the United States to live there. There's a very large Iranian community. They're the people who fled when the Shah left, and they were people who had worked with him. So my own feeling, sir, is that it should be taken seriously, but we should not hit the panic button right now. Fatwas will continue to be issued by people who have probably lost the feeling, as the Deobandi fellows have also been doing in India, that it's an opinion on a religious thing. For example, somebody might come out with a fatwa: can a Muslim woman wear a skirt? Now, some fellow will issue a fatwa saying, no, it's not permitted in Islam. Somebody else will turn around and say, all right, it has to be 14 inches below the knee or 18 inches. Ultimately, it descends from the sublime to the ridiculous. And that's what I find, that people don't take it seriously anymore. So in India, at least, we are fortunate. In Sanatan Dharam, which is the religion to which I belong, um, we don't have any such concept. There used to be this idea of smritis and so on. Christianity, several hundred years ago, had the Pope issuing those papal bulls, which is all rubbish. Nobody issues them anymore. It used to be a kind of papal fatwa. The Pope would do it. Then we have something equivalent, but very mild. Ours, again, is nothing that is mandatory. The fatwa itself is supposed to be only an opinion, only a matter of guidance, not to be taken very seriously, like jihad. Islamic scholars tell me that jihad is your struggle against yourself to purify your body, to purify your mind, to purify your being, not against anybody else. But it has been misinterpreted by these jokers. So my own feeling, sir, is that since the fatwa has been issued against Israel and against the United States, it is an acknowledgement that we can't defeat Israel, we can't defeat the United States. So let's see, by doing this kind of thing, if we can cause harm to the leaders of the two countries that are fighting with Iran. That seems to be the basic. And since this is the term is Grand Ayatollah, whatever that means, well, therefore it has a certain amount of say. Obviously, it has the sanction of the government, because I told that the president, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, had also issued a few fatwas here and there, but they were all on matters clarifying various religious edicts and clarifying whether people could do this or could not do this. So this one directly targeting the president, it's not something that is going to make Islam any more popular in the world than it is now. And I don't even think many Islamic countries are going to follow this at all. The Independence Day of the United Sure, the Independence Day of the United States, as you rightly pointed, around the corner. And there is a parade and there are all kinds of things. So maybe some buffoons will try and disrupt the proceedings. But what is going to happen because of this fatwa is the security setup in the United States is going to focus on Muslims, particularly Muslims of the Shia community, Muslims from Iran. I don't think the Shia and Sunnis don't like each other. They've been clobbering each other for centuries. I don't think the Sunni Muslims are going to accept this fatwa. The Shias are going to be under enhanced scrutiny in the United States. So by doing this kind of thing, you're actually hurting your own people, sir, is my opinion. You're not hurting the president of the United States. He'll be protected. But your own chaps who attempt to do funny things, and then the repercussion will be Iran, don't give the guy a visa. Don't let him come in. And if he's coming, throw him out. I don't know what positive results will come out of what has been done there. This is a personal opinion. I have been, I mentioned to you, the receiving end of fatwas. But then, happy birthday. I mean, those were opinions. Why did he say this? Why did he do that, etc.? Well, happy birthday. I'll do what I feel like. I live in a democratic, open society. I'm 74 years young. I'm not going to be cowed down by this kind of rubbish. And I also tell people who, speak to me about my opinions, I say, don't forget that I am the son of a Pathan and of a Sikh. My mother was a Sikh, my father was a Pathan. And this mixture of this blood can be very volatile. We speak our mind. So we're not scared. I'm not scared at all. See, what an interesting question. You've answered it yourself. You said if we relate the fatwa to terrorism. Now, that's the thing in your mind. And that is true, that your opinion, your sense of the fatwa is shared by many people. The fatwa in the earlier years, in the 18th, 19th, 20th centuries, they would never said, go clobber this guy, go kill him, go eliminate him. It's only of late, after Salman Rushdie, I think, when, was it Ayatollah Khomeini Ruhollah Khomeini, who issued something against him. Then he was he was protected, then he was stabbed, and I don't know what he probably recovered or is recovering. I hope he recovers. This kind of thing to cause physical harm to somebody, that is not the original intention of the fatwa. Fatwa is meant to clarify a point of law. And then the Supreme Court of India has also said that it has no legal relevance. It's not legally binding. So the Iranians now, having realized that they can't fight the Americans directly, there's no way, can't fight the Israelis directly, forget the United States, now going to resort to this kind of business. And who's going to be most hurt is not the Ayatollah sitting in Tehran issuing the fatwas, but the people of Iranian origin who are settled in many countries across the world. I'm told about 60 or 70 countries have people from the of Iranian origin. They are going to be under enhanced scrutiny. So before you do a thing like this, you have to be very careful what the impact will be. I mean, just by way of for the sake of argument, if one of the Shankaracharyas were to say that, every Sanatani living in any, and we have 193 countries members of the UN, and the Indian community is in all 193. There are Hindus in all 193. If some Sanatani were to turn around and say, all right, you guys are supposed to do this, it's not going to reflect well on the image of India as a peace-loving, law-abiding nation and of the Indian community. So I think before these fellows issue fatwas like this, they ought to weigh the pros and cons. Fatwas are not issued in a moment of passion, but have to be issued after due deliberation by people who are qualified, who are muftis. I'm sure this Grand Ayatollah is qualified, but perhaps it was issued at the request of whoever controls the levers of power. And they're not going to be able to hurt the President of the United States. I certainly hope that they don't do it, because then, if it is done in response to this fatwa, let me assure you, son, there will be hell to pay.